Hey guys, Devin here, Lifetime Preparedness. So, what am I preparing for? That's the big question. Well, I am a prepper. I'm into preparedness, as you can tell. So, what am I preparing for? What's the big thing that I'm preparing for? Because everyone has that one big thing. Um, well, when I first started, what I was preparing for, the big thing, was a super volcano from Yellowstone. And then I was, but now, which, it's a possibility. But now, I prepare for worst case scenario. And I gotta be honest with you. There's two worst case scenarios. One I think is not very probable, so I prepare for the other one instead. And there's a lot of crossover between the two. So what I'm preparing for, I think, which is worst case scenario for the United States, is an EMP or a power grid down. Either one of those, I think, would be catastrophic. Though I think the EMP would be worse, I think the power grid going down would be catastrophic as well. Those are the two big things that I'm preparing for. Now, I'm not saying they're the most likely scenarios, but in my opinion, they are the worst case scenario. And as preppers, we should be preparing for worst case scenario always. Hoping for best case, but preparing for the worst. So using, that philosophy, I'm preparing for an EMP or a grid down situation. Now, that's not what I think is most likely. What I think is most likely, actually, is a severe economic collapse brought on by, could be a variety of factors. So many things could play into it. That's just what I, think is most likely to happen. But I also understand that I need to prepare for the worst. EMP, grid down, power grid down. There's other things that are worst case scenarios too that I think are pretty, severe, like a nuclear war. That would be horrific. That would very, very much make me sad. Let's put it that way. But that is something I also prepare for. It's on my list. Yellowstone, that's on my list. An Ice Age, that's on my list as well. And that's not too far-fetched. Really not. I know you guys like to think so. I don't know about you guys, but I know people like to think so, but I don't think it is. So that's why I'm preparing for an EMP. Now, it's also, in my opinion, not the most likely, but something similar, power grid going down. I actually think someone taking out our power grid's pretty likely, whether they hack into the power grid and take it down that way, cause whatever, they can do all kinds of things. They can remotely cause things to explode. They could attack the grid, on the ground. They could hit it with missiles. Yeah, the likelihood of that's not high, because we have good technology that could stop that. But there's still a possibility. And, if they send in ground attacks, listen, they can get people in this country. I pray to God they do not, but they can, and they can, do what they gotta do. There's bad people out there. China. So, other countries too, but, I think China's our biggest foe, and I've said that before. So, and that I think it's fairly probable. I know back in like the early 2000s, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's when it was. The power grid in like half the Northeast went out because someone cut a wire. Hang on one second, folks. Sorry, I had an incoming call. Y'all know I use my smartphone. That's why we got them. That way we don't have to have cameras. So, power grid can go down. So those are the main things I'm preparing for. Those are the things I think are are the worst case scenario, and that is why I'm preparing for an EMP, because I think an EMP would be the worst case scenario for this country, and that is why I'm preparing for it. It's just most probable, so that's what I'm doing. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think is the worst case scenario, and if that's what you're preparing for, or if you're preparing for something else. Also, let me know what you think is most likely versus what is most worst case. What is worst case scenario? So worst case scenario versus most likely. Let me know down in the comments what you think. So what I'm saying is EMP worst case scenario, most likely economic collapse. That's just my opinion. Throw a little, obviously, civil unrest in there, because with an economic collapse there's civil unrest, which could lead to war. But, that aside, economic collapse. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Go ahead and subscribe. Share with your friends and family. That way we can get the message of preparedness out there. Go ahead and hit the bell. YouTube may or may not notify you when my videos go up. So, check it out. See if they did or not. And go ahead and leave a like. Go check out my Parler account. It's Lifetime Preparedness, basically Instagram, but they don't, watch what you do so much and control you. Check out my Instagram too. While I'm talking about that, Lifetime Preparedness. We're getting up there in followers, so go ahead and check that out. And I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.